Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm gonna be doing a water pump rebuild on the Xmax 125, which is right behind me. Fortunately, I'm thinking that my current water pump is leaking from the oil seal, which is located in the water pump, which is right here, this one. I'm gonna brace it. And it's leaking coolant into the engine. So if I manage to get access to the water pump from the side over here, it should be a fairly simple job. Shouldn't take very long and it's not very hard either. So let's start working on it. So I have removed part of the trim which was over here, and the water pump seems fairly accessible. It's located right behind this piece of chassis over here. If we don't manage to undo it from here, we can definitely do it from the inside. I don't know. Now if we don't manage to undo the bolts from the outside, we can always go on the inside and try and undo them from here. The water pump is right there. So we can use a normal wrench to undo the bolts. So let's go ahead and try and remove it. Just before we start, it's a good idea to have a small wrench. This is a 1/4 inch and it has a long extension and a normal wrench, and these are 10mm. So the first thing I'm gonna do before removing the water pump is undoing this hose pipe over here. Make sure you have something to catch the coolant in. So the pump is actually coming out from the bottom. As you can see, the milky oil. So it was leaking from the oil seal. So let's take it on the bench, take the kit, and let's start replacing stuff. So while removing the pump, I realized that I only needed to remove 3 bolts, because the pump is attached only by 3 bolts to the engine. The rest of the bolts is to separate the cover of the water pump from the water pump itself. Let's open it, and we can see over here lots of gunk inside the water pump. We're gonna remove the impeller and also the bracket that holds the impeller in place, which is held down by 2 10mm bolts, and we'll start replacing everything. So now I have cleared the water pump casing over here, as you can see. Make sure that the oil seal and the bearing positions are very clean. We don't want them to leak again. Use fine sandpaper on the gasket surfaces if there's really stubborn gasket material left. Now I have all the new parts that need to go in the water pump. I've placed them here. Now the next step that we need to do is just assemble the water pump back with all the gaskets and bearings and put it back on the bike. I'm gonna put a bit of assembly lube on the bearing, just a little bit. Now the next step is to put on the gasket. Make sure that this hole over here is... So next step is to put on the gasket and make sure that the hole over here is not blocked by the gasket. So it should go on like this. Match up the holes like this. So it will look like this. The hole is not blocked. Next thing is to put on the plate that holds the impeller in place. Make sure to put on some Loctite on the bolts. Make sure they are torqued to 10 Newton meters. Now the next step is to put on the gasket for the cover over here and attach it back on. Again, just a little bit of Loctite. So the same as the other bolts inside, 10 Newton meters of torque. The last two gaskets go over here, one over here. And the O-ring, which goes over here. So now the water pump is fully assembled and ready to go back on the bike. So the water pump has been assembled, as you can see. I also attached all the hose pipes that were removed, which are these two top ones over here and the radiator hose at the bottom. Okay, so now that the water pump has been assembled, the next step is to fill up the coolant And I'm gonna also flush the oil because it has been contaminated with coolant. If you would like to watch those, you can watch my previous video when I did the engine rebuild. I did a coolant flush and an engine oil flush also. So that's it for me. I hope this video has helped you guys into replacing your water pump or rebuilding it. And I will see you in the next one.